Hello everyone, today we want to take a look at the distributive law. Now, the distributive law happens whenever we have brackets and we want to remove the brackets by distributing something inside of the brackets. For example, we have an algebraic expression with distributive law, and then it says it is 4 open brackets 2x minus 3y plus 7 close bracket minus open bracket 5x plus 2y plus 3w minus 1. So this is what we have, the distributive law. Now this is the distributive law because, as you can see, we have brackets and then right in front of it there is a number, right? And the next bracket and right in front of it is a number. There's another one that looks like it, but it is not the distributive law, and the main reason why it will not be the distributive law is because there is no number in front of it, right? The number in front of it is 4 and the number in front of it is a negative. But you would say, but that is not a number. Yes, there is a number in front of it and it is a negative 1, right? So whenever you see something like this and you see a sign but you don't see a number, remember that it is always going to be a 1. There is something in front of it and that is a 1. So this is what we have. What you want to do is you want to work it out by the distributive law. So apply the distributive law. How do we apply the distributive law? The distributive law is going to be as follows. You see that there is a number in front of it. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply that number to each term inside of the bracket. 1 term, 2, and 3. So you need to multiply 4 3 times. 4 times this one, the first term, 4 times the second term, and then 4 times the third term, right? And that is going to be the distributive law. The other one, you're going to do the same thing, but how many times will you multiply? You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to multiply it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. You see? So that is the distributive law. Whenever you have a number in front of the bracket and then you get rid of the bracket by distributing the closest number to the left. So let's work it out. Here, if we multiply by 4, so that's going to be 4 times 2x. That's going to be 4 times 2, 8x. If we multiply 4 times 3, this is 4 times a negative 3. So 4 times a negative 3, that's going to give me a negative 12y. Right? And then 4 times 7. So 4 times a positive 7, 28. Right? Then we have the other one. So since we have finished with this one, notice that we don't put no brackets and we have removed it and we have this down here. So next one is going to be negative 1 times 5x. Negative 1 times 5. 1 times 5, that's 5. But then negative times a positive gives me a negative 5x. Negative 1 times 2y, that's going to give me a negative 2y. Right? Negative 1 times 3w, that's going to give me negative 3w. Right? And then negative 1 times negative 1 gives me a positive 1, right? And then that is what we have. You have to remember the laws of indices in terms of multiplication, addition, and subtraction. We know that for multiplication, if the two signs are the same, it is positive, and if the signs are different, then it is negative. Meaning that if it is a positive times a negative, your answer will be negative. If you're multiplying a negative times a negative, your answer is positive, right? So just go back and review it. So we have gotten rid of the brackets. So what do we need to do next? The next thing that we need to do is we need to gather them by letters. Why? Because we're organizing it such that we have x's with x's. So this is going to be 8x. Where is the other x? Minus 5x. Remember, the sign to the left or the sign close to it is what it is. So this is negative 5x, and that is what I put down there. What do I want to put next? The next thing I want to put is the y. So this is 12y. What is to the left of it? It's a negative. So that means it is going to be a negative 12y. Scratch it out. So I know I have used it. Y here closest to the negative. So to the left we have a negative or a minus. So that's going to be negative 2y. Scratch that out. Then I want to put w. It's going to be negative 3w. And then I can see that I do not have any other w, so I leave it as it is. And then lastly is the numbers. Plus 28 plus 1. And we have added in all the terms that we have there. So we're going to work this 2 followed by this 2. This is by itself, so we leave it there, and then we're going to be working those 2. 8x minus 5x. Maybe you're talking about x raised, or maybe you're talking about anything which you want. So you have 8, sorry. You have 8 and you owe 5. So if I give out those 5, I will remain with 3x, right? 3x raised, right? The nurse has 8 x-rays and she needs to give 5 x-rays to the patient. So she gives that back and then she ends up with only 3. So that is what more or less it's telling you. This one says, why a boy owes 12 yo-yos, and at the same time he realizes that he owes another 2 yo-yos. So if he owes 12 yo-yos and he owes another 2 yo-yos, then at the end of the day, when he finished counting how many yo-yos he owes, he will be owing 14 of them, right? In this case, we cannot say we have because it is negative. We bring down the 3w, right? We bring that down because we cannot work nothing with it. And then lastly, we have 28. 28 plus 1 gives me a total of 29. And that is what we have. That problem cannot be worked any further because x cannot go with y, and it cannot go with w, and it cannot go with the number by itself, right? So let's do another one. Example 2, 5e plus 2f plus 3 open bracket e minus f plus 1. Okay, so that is what we have. 5e plus 2f plus 3, open bracket, E minus F plus 1. In this case, notice that what you have is only one bracket. We don't have two brackets like the previous one, but we only have one, right? The previous one, you can see that we have one here and we have one here. This one just has one here. So that means that how many distributions do you have? Do you need to do? It's going to be only one because it only has one bracket, right? And then what are you going to distribute? What we're going to distribute is the number closest to it. In this case, it's the 3, right? And it's a positive 3. So the positive 3 is what we're going to be distributing. And then what we say is that the 3 will need to be multiplied to the E. The 3 will be multiplied with the F, and the 3 will be multiplied with the 1. So for the others, we just bring that down for right now. So that's going to be 5E plus 2F. And then here we need to figure out if it's going to be a plus or minus the number. Positive 3 times E. Positive times a positive gives me a positive 3, and then E does not have no number, but we know that it is going to be a 1, right? So anytime that you ask yourself what is in front of the letter, it is always a 1. So 3 times 1, that's 3, and then E. Positive times a negative gives me a negative. 3 times what now? 3 times what? It doesn't have any number, so it's going to be a 1 again. So 3 times 1, that's going to be 3, and then F. Followed by positive times a positive is a positive. 3 times 1 is 3. So you see what we have? We have gotten rid of the bracket by taking the number closest to it, which is the 3, and distributing that inside of the bracket. Right? So what do we do next? The next step is that we need to gather them and solve them if possible, and or simplify them if possible. For example, this 5E can work out with the 3E. This 2F can work out with the 3F, and then the 3 remains by itself. So let me gather it. Bring down the 5E, bring down the positive 3E, bring down the positive 2F, and then bring down the negative 3F, and then lastly bring down the 3. Right? So that is what we have. Then we work this 2, we work this 2, and then the 3, since it's by itself, we cannot work that one out. So 5E plus 3E gives me a total of 8E. 2F minus 3F. Here, notice again, let me go back to this one. Remember what we said? Positive 5 means what? Positive 5 means I have 5. Positive 3 means what? I have 3. I have 5 and I have 3. So I don't owe anything, so I don't need to give back anything. So in total, I have 8, right? Which is positive 8. I have 8E. Then this one says, I have 2, but I owe 3. So it's like me saying, I have 2 files, right? I have 2 files, but I owe 3. So somehow I misplaced one, right? So if I give out those 2 files, I will still need one more file, right? I still need one more file because I owe one. I don't know where I put that one. So I have to indicate it here. I owe 1 file. So, and then we bring down the 3. So, and there we have it. Our answer is 8E minus 1F plus 3.